She is an expert in both physical and mental peak performance. She trains your brain and allows you to reach new heights of success never dreamed of. She is a published author, earning a PhD in applied psychophysiology and holds a master's in sports psychology. She is a figure competitor, trains the brain and trains the body, and embodies living functionized. She lives up to the name of Beauty, Brains, Brawn. She is Chantea Goetz, and this is the Chantea Goetz Functionized Podcast.
It's Functionized Podcast time. If you're listening to this podcast, which I'm sure you are, and you are local, even better, stop in, DM us at Functionized, call us 848-444-9032, and on me, I would love to get you scanned. Learn every nuance about you from your head to your toes, your entire body composition, disease risk factors, you name it, we will scan it and we'll go over it, see where you stand.
That's right. Fit 3D.
Visit www.functionize.com. Also, the brand new website of the Fit Lab, fitlabnj.com. That is fitlabnj.com. And we're getting started with this podcast. Pull over the side of the road. Take a screenshot, post it, tag us at Functionized, and we will start following you. Grow your own following, one Functionized step at a time. We have some very special guests with us. If they weren't special, they wouldn't be here, right?
That's right.
Our first introduction here is Liz Abate. Liz is a board-certified nutrition and wellness consultant at Health and Happiness, where she will guide you in your journey towards greater wellness and energy. Liz specializes in creating organic, wholesome meals to assist you and your family in enjoying healthy, nourishing meals. You can expect 100% quality ingredients in every meal. Liz loves food. I mean, really, really loves food.
Loves food, yeah. She does.
Liz started Real Food, Real Good to show you that eating real food instead of the processed junk that makes people sick doesn't have to be tasteless or make you feel deprived. In fact, her goal is to blow your taste buds away. Eating healthy food can be delicious and healing all at the same time. Liz, being certified nutrition and wellness consultant, is also a level 1 CrossFit certified trainer.
Actually, a level 2, I'm sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Even better. Smarter than I thought. Even better. She's also a CrossFit kids trainer, yes?
Yeah.
And somehow, and I don't know where this fits in, but we'll figure this out in a second, has a master's degree in accounting from Wagner College. We're also joined by Ken Nodes, long-time career on Wall Street. He is a wolf, but not that wolf, and currently owns CrossFit Persist in Morganville, New Jersey.
Yes, it is.
Ken and Liz, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
So first things first, Liz. A master's degree in accounting.
Oh, boy.
When I typically think of accountants, I think of, I don't want to offend everybody, but they won't be listening to this then, really big, hairy, fat guys.
Oh, my God.
Old men, right?
Protectors.
Women who are like, need 2 chairs to sit in. And
So clearly,
you are not that.
That's
Do not fit the mold of a typical accountant.
So, Liz, can you how did you get into accounting in the first place?
Oh.
And then how did your fitness, health, wellness journey really begin?
So accounting became natural to me. It was just something I was good at. And I don't know how to explain it, but you kind of just get in the position where you just got to keep on moving up the ladder, right? So you go through college because that's what you're supposed to do, and then you start your master's degree because you want to at least have a little level up from other accountants. Then when I started working in the city, working 12 to 15 hours a day, I just kind of went through the hustle and bustle, had 2 kids, and then it was just really hard to juggle everything. Mm-hmm. I did have a passion in health and fitness on the side, and that was kind of getting a little backseat because I was working so much. And then I remember I was on vacation, and I said, you know what? My boss was like emailing me while I was on vacation. I said, I can't do this no more. I'm going to go get back to school, get my certification in nutrition and in CrossFit, and take the leap of faith. And that's where I am now. And I just figured, you know, especially for being a mom, it was just important for me to be around more often with the kids rather than sitting behind a desk watching and feeling my body like deteriorate sitting at a desk all these hours.
What did you do when you were going to that grind as the accountant to keep yourself from falling apart like so many do?
I actually have timers on my phone of when to stand up and walk around, when to eat and when to drink, just because you do get lost in time of sitting there for so long. And, you don't even know that you went to work and the sun was, still gone. It was dark. And then when I leave, it was still dark. So it was just like, where do the hours go when you're just behind that computer? So it's important to make sure that you're constantly moving and you're still maintaining, the right amount of calories you need to eat and whatnot. So I just had to make sure I was always every 2 hours. Let me have some more almonds. Let me go grab some slices of turkey. I had to.
That's the big thing, being able to manage what you have set in front of you, but then still be mindful of what gets you through the days.
Right.
So having that proper preparation. And especially being a busy mom, traveling back and forth, getting yourself ready, getting the kids ready, it takes a lot out of a person.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like the number one thing I hear from people is that they don't have time. They don't have time. It literally took me maybe 15 minutes to set up the timers in my phone, and then it's set every single day. So it was just like, okay, time to do this.
Awesome.
I'll get up and do it.
So would you agree that the time does exist, but you actually have to want to do it?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And if you don't set that time up front to prep, whether it's your meals or it's your schedule or it's your priorities.
It's those 5 Ps. The proper preparation prevents poor performance. Yeah, close enough.
There you go, John.
She's the accountant.
Ex-accountant.
I think the other P in that would be prioritize. You have to prioritize yourself, and that's the problem that you run into with most people is they just don't. Like especially mothers. As Liz was saying, when you get busy doing stuff, it's all about the kids and your family and stuff like that. And you don't prioritize yourself. And when you don't prioritize yourself, that declines.
Absolutely.
And then you use the excuse that, my kids and everything have to come first. But getting people to understand that they have to come first in order for them to be any good to their kids and their family that's the tough part. That's a tough sell.
Oh, and then some. And it's tough to, as you said, sell. Why do you have to sell somebody on that for themselves?
Yes.
Right.
One thing I like to tell individuals and fully believe, are you going to be the 100% best version of yourself at all times? If you are ignoring yourself, then you're not giving the best to your kids or whatever other excuse that you're using instead of that.
Right.
You take those 15 minutes, Liz, as you said, and bam, and you're a better mom now all of a sudden, aren't you?
Yep, 100%.
Why CrossFit? Why not yoga? Why not spin? Why not, go and run?
Well, where that came from, so I was 30 years old, had 2 kids already at the time, like I said, working those crazy hours, and I just felt my body deteriorating. So one day, literally out of nowhere, I decided to sign up for a Tough Mudder, and the Tough Mudder was like 3 months away, and I said, okay, I need something hardcore, something that's going to get me, because I never worked out a day before in my life, either before CrossFit. So I needed something intense and something quick. So that's when I found CrossFit, and then it just became addicting from there. And I just keep going back.
Nice.
And now I'm a level 2 certified, and it's, part of my everyday life.
Absolutely. So how often would you continue to do the WODs currently? Is it an everyday thing for you, or are you kind of...
It is an everyday thing. I do take Sundays off. And sometimes Saturdays, depending on my kids' schedule, not to put my kids before. Like we just contradicted.
You're hitting 5 days right there.
I'm hitting 5 days, yes. At the very least, it's 5 days.
1 a days, 2 a days?
No, just 1 day.
Okay.
Body can't handle more than that.
CrossFit is, I asked because CrossFit is a brutal sport.
It can be, yeah.
If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't have the proper instruction in what you're doing, because a lot of these dynamic movements are, pretty rough on the body, right?
Yeah, they are. Well, the key, I think you said, you referred to it as it's a tough sport. If you look at it as a sport, which many do, and that's awesome, then it's difficult. It's not easy. But most of the time, most of the people get in there, it's not a sport. It's just a way to get healthy and stay fit and get some exercise in,
And not get bored with it.
And not get bored with it. When you're in the environment, admittedly, especially if you're competitive and everybody's a little bit competitive, you can treat it like a sport, which can be a benefit because it pushes you, but can also be a downfall because sometimes you take it a little bit too far. You know,
certainly can.
So. You know,
and there has to be that right balance.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
Everything.
No
no
question.
matter what type of your training that you're doing,
yeah,
you've got to be able to know the limits and then give yourself that time to recover.
Got to listen to your body.
Exactly.
And, you know when to pull it back.
So how about you, Ken? How did you go from Wall Street to
the
CrossFit?
box?
The box.
The box.
It's a funny thing because few people, even at the box, realize that that's what I did before. So for 24 years, I worked as a hedge fund. I ran a hedge fund, and that just got to the point where it was just enough was enough. I didn't want to do it anymore. The passion wasn't there. There were some other external things that came up that happened, but in the end of the day, what I did was take a step back and said, okay, I don't want to do this. What do I want to do? And the thing, I had gotten into CrossFit prior to this. So I've been doing CrossFit for about a year or so, maybe 2. And I said, well, the thing I do anyway, and I always have my entire life, is health and fitness, whether it be, looking up nutritional fads. And this goes back into the 90s, the 80s and 90s when I was young and following, looking at Muscle and Fitness magazine and Flex magazine and reading everything they put out there and trying everything they put out except for the steroids. And so that's just what I did. That's what my passion was. That's what I started doing. So I got certified, I'd coached for a little while, and there weren't many other, boxes in the area. At the time, actually, there was only one, so I decided to open up one and see what happened. And here we are 9 years later.
Wow, great. Congrats.
And then luckily enough, at one point, about a year in, Liz walked in the door because she had signed up for that Tough Mudder, which I happen to be doing also.
Yeah?
Yeah. I happened to be signed, in and out too. There's a bunch of people in the box, so it actually worked out well. And as I said, the rest is history. From there, she got into the nutrition side of it, which we're always trying to push people at the box to do, which is the hardest thing. As like you're talking about how hard and intense CrossFit can be. Like that's nothing getting people into. Everybody comes in, they want to work out. That's the fun part. Teach them how to climb ropes or lift the barbell. That's fun. Nobody wants to do nutrition. They just
no.
There's
you're absolutely right. They can work out all
that
day,
people
but
just don't
nobody
wanna
wants
do.
to listen to it. They don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, it's a mental block that
Yeah,
people
and
have.
it's the most important part. Like we always tell people who come in for nutrition, like they Goetz and put up the hierarchy of importance for athletes or human beings in general, basically. And the base of the pyramid that they put up there is nutrition. That's the first thing. After that, it's metabolic conditioning and weightlifting and gymnastics and stuff like that.
that's more fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But nutrition, everybody's like, yeah, it's the base. That's where everything starts. Nobody wants to hear about it.
No one wants to hear about it.
As we tell them, abs are made in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It really starts there.
It's true.
How many people literally will work abs and abs and
Yes,
abs and never see a thing, right?
Yeah.
And then if they finally do start eating better, that's the best way to put it, then they start to appear weird. How do you two find that the transition from CrossFit type activities occurs into a mud run of some sort, whether it be Tough Mudder, Spartan, the plethora of different mud runs out there?
I mean, I think most people that we find doing, a lot of people, at our box do that along with competitions, different competitions. They sign up for them to give them a focal point, something to train for in the future, which is actually how I actually got into CrossFit was, I worked out all the time. So I started I need something more. I need something to train for. So I started doing road runs, just running. Races and stuff, Spring Lake 5, all those things. I don't like running. I can't stand running. But I did it because it was just something to train for. I got bored with it and I started doing triathlons. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to train for it or anything like that. I would just sign up for them. I had something to train for. I would do them. And through training for them, I did a little research and stumbled across upon the CrossFit website. And that's how I found it. I didn't even know it existed before that. But yeah, that's how most people, they just want something extra to train for, whether it's a CrossFit competition, a Tough Mudder, or Spartan. They sign up for 3 months in the future, and then they have something that they have to work for, and they kind of commits them a little bit to it.
Absolutely. but definitely know that when you have a goal to work towards, it starts with the SMART goals. And like, I'm a big believer in telling everyone, okay, well, what do you want to do this week? What do you want to do next month? What's your 3-month goal? Because when you can chunk it up and you've got something more tangible, you don't find yourself wandering around going, what am I going to do today?
Right.
What am I doing tomorrow?
Action, right.
So I think, that makes a lot of sense for people. They sign up and say, okay, now I got to get serious because now there's something, there's a deadline.
Our family personally enjoys CrossFit. We watch the games every year. It's kind of like an event. We make sure we're there, watching. We know the times, the competitions. We know who's in what place. And, I mean, we really get into it. Watch the documentaries. What is the difference from what you've seen in the box compared to the world's fittest?
There's a lot of difference.
Yeah, there's a lot. And honestly, I think the biggest difference is the approach. The approach is looking at it from a sport or as a exercise modality. And I say exercise modality here because we're talking about the sport, but in reality, CrossFit it's about nutrition. It's about overall health. It's really the base of the whole thing. And the idea is that you can come in, learn different skills, and approach all the different variables of fitness. In a short, most of the workouts that we do are on average between 10 and 15 minutes.
I find it takes longer to warm up.
Yeah. It's pretty much what it is. We'll do a strength component and stuff like that. But so if you get them together in an hour class, and the class is great because of the community setting, it's just, that's the way most people are going to look at it. Now, if you're training for it as a sport, you want to compete in the games or a competition, then you're talking about doing this a couple times a day. And basically your life has to be about your workouts and your recovery, and everything you do from your sleep to your nutrition is focused on. And 99.9% of the people that walk into a CrossFit gym are just showing up for an hour to de-stress, work out, and try to be healthy for a little bit. That's not what they're trying to do.
It's a group environment.
Yeah.
Close-knit after a while. And you like being there, right?
Yeah, you like being there. It's like a place to go. And by the way, you're going to work out while you're here. But
there's nothing wrong with that. I like this.
Most of the people are just need a place to go and hang out and with some like-minded people and have some fun.
Absolutely. How about when it does come to nutrition? What fads have you found that individuals keep gravitating to time and time again?
The good fads or the bad fads?
And everything in between.
Exactly.
Whatever the
I'm gonna say like the shakes, the elimination, where they eliminate stuff and people go for
the quick fix.
Meal replacements.
The quick fix things. Yeah.
That I can't wrap my head around that. Because I always say to people, okay, that's good for now. You got your weight loss that you wanted, and now what? You start eating food again, and your body doesn't know how to digest and break down certain types of foods because you lost that all. So that I think is one fad that irks me the most.
Think most of the fads that you run into, whether it be, I'll say it is a fad, but I don't think it's a fad at all, but because we promote it, but we call it paleo, but it's nothing more than eating real food. But if you want to say paleo, you want to say the zone, you want to say keto or vegetarianism or whatever the, soup du jour is. Most of those you can take something from. There's some positive impact that most people are going to get from those things. There's always going to be arguments on either side, but the shakes, the quick fixes, there's nothing good coming from those things.
They end up slowing down the metabolism. So when you actually eat.
So if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, you lose 8 to 10 pounds drinking a shake, once a day and then having a salad for lunch. That's awesome. And you lose those. You're going to lose those 5 or 10 pounds while you're doing this. But are you going to do that for life?
That's definitely not maintainable.
What happens a month later?
Right.
Where are you? You're right back where you were.
Exactly.
So everything that we always try to put out is the first question is can you do that forever? If you can't do it forever, then why do it? Just do something you can maintain. Live a healthy life, doing things that are comfortable and are fun for you, and the results may not be what you looked at, what you wanted to when you started, but as you get comfortable, you're going to end up being where you want to be because you're going to be happy. If you're doing one of these fad diets for a month, 2-3 months, eventually you're going to come off it.
But they're sexy, they're fun, the marketing, pictures of people like, look at that, really?
I saw this movie star doing this incredible diet. I want to try it.
It's just not sustainable.
No.
So.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not sustainable. So what Liz, as the nutrition girl in the room right now.
Yeah.
What do you typically subscribe to?
So typically it is eat real foods, nothing processed, right? Processed is, I think, the biggest enemy out of everything. And what's hard about the processed foods is the marketing. So when you're going food shopping and you're seeing, well, it says, fat-free, and it says no sugar, and it says all this. Well, they've eliminated some of the better quality ingredients and replaced it with chemicals. And people aren't reading the small fine print on the back. They're just kind of looking at the big labels that are like right in their face saying, oh, well, this has to be healthy because it says, it has this many grams of grains. And, so I think that is my biggest fight with people, is to try to understand, to read the small print in the back of the box, not the main. So if you just eat real foods, meaning that the actual ingredient is the food that you're eating, not only will it help you reach your goals of whatever it may be, could be weight loss or could even be muscle gain, you're healthy. So the goal is to eat healthy, and then everything else will follow into place.
What is the biggest struggle you find in working with individuals when it does come to nutrition?
No one wants to do the work. No one wants to cook. No one wants to.
I was just going to say, what work? I'm just eating here. I can do this all day long.
That's actually how the second part of the business came up, is because no one
wants to cook.
Right. Initially, it was the nutrition, right? It was just she was just giving people nutritional guidance, formulating meal plans for them, actually this is what you should eat every day this week, from the second when you wake up to the second you go to sleep. She would lay it all out for them, and they were having trouble with it because
after about 2 weeks,
I'm not cooking. I
don't want to cook all this. I don't want to prepare all this food and stuff. So that's where she started preparing meals. So I was all right. Well, then I'll start preparing the meals for you too. And next thing is going to be going to the house and actually spoon feeding it. But
I don't want to heat the food up now. But yeah, that's definitely it. Is the prepping and the cooking. People tend to, they rather just open up a bag and pour, cereal, or not, like
the way society's gone.
Yeah.
Everybody's too busy for everything.
Yes, we're too busy for everything, and so you want it's easiest,
convenient,
and convenient.
I mean, how often do we get home, or on the way home, realizing it's 8 o'clock at night, kids need to be in bed at a half hour,
and they haven't eaten.
Man. There's a lot of stuff in the fridge, but it needs to be cooked and prepared. By the time we cook it, prepare it, it's going to be 9 o'clock, past bedtime, etc. Yeah,
it's hard.
And I always tell people when they run into that situation, like, just run into like a Whole Foods and grab a rotisserie chicken for $5. And you have a whole dinner right there.
And we have done that.
Oh my goodness, how many times have you done that? Sounds so
I'll get out the veggies, and the kids
you do not need to stop
very
at McDonald's. And
our kids have never been to McDonald's.
That is awesome.
They're 12, 7, and 4.
Fantastic.
They've never been to a McDonald's. I'm very happy and proud to say that.
Wow, aren't we so awesome now? Our kids have never been to McDonald's. We used to live at Taco Bell, but our kids have never been to McDonald's.
That was pre-kids. We all have a past.
Yes.
We were just talking last night, and somebody today in the Fit Lab actually brought it up, said, Jim, you guys have always been perfect forever. Like, we were just talking about this last night. So we'd go to Wendy's multiple times a week for the spicy chicken.
Sure.
Taco Bell when we weren't at Wendy's. It was just, I think, Hot Pockets.
Yeah, we've done a Hot Pocket. You go to college and you can eat pretty much anything and everything you want. And
ramen noodles. That was like 10 cents a bag.
Yep.
I would make them for my roommate across the hall.
You throw it in. Exactly.
But it wasn't always an easy thing for us either. We look back and we're like, oh, we had our chunky phase. Everybody's been there at least once, but it takes that wake up moment. And luckily it wasn't a major illness for us that a lot of people, okay, well now I'm diabetic and now, I just had a heart attack and now I have to take care of myself. Luckily we were able to start it before that. But so often it's too late for many people.
Right. Processed foods, it really is, it's made to be addictive, right? So that people can buy more. Like, have you ever opened up a bag of Oreos and eaten less than one sleeve? Like, you can't.
You don't, no. Why would you?
You open it, you got to eat it all.
It's like the Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies. You just don't buy Girl Scout cookies.
There's a reason for that. Yes.
I remember watching someone, it was Greg Glassman, said that CrossFit can cure diabetes.
Yeah.
Nearly knocked me over at the time. Like, wow, can he really say that?
He said that. Yeah.
That's a powerful statement.
It's huge. When it comes to exercising. It doesn't have to be CrossFit. It can be any type of exercise. How much have you both found that it comes down to just working out or just nutrition, or do you really have to combine so much together?
This kind of sounds like a little battle that we had a couple of years ago. So we would go, he was obviously the fitness guy and I was the nutrition girl. And it would start off, he says, no, Liz, it's 50-50. I said, no way. And I think we're in agreement that it's 80-20 nutrition. Only because of fitness, you're only doing it for at most an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops of your day. You still have 20 plus hours, right? So depending on how you handle those other hours during the day is really what is dependent on your health and recovery of, you know, what you put yourself through. And that includes sleeping and meditation as well as the food that you eat. So finally, admittedly so. That
you backed down and like, all right.
I did back down. I can give you 50-50. I'm not giving you any more than 50-50, but it's more probably 80-20. Well, 70-30?
No.
80-20?
80-20. I'm going to say 80-20.
I was going to say it depends, I think, on the individual and what their goals are.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody is going to be a triathlete, you're going to be eating a lot more, and sometimes it really doesn't matter as much as long as you're getting
calories.
You know, you can eat 20 bagels a day. Yeah. You're not going to notice one bit.
But you're going to have to put some road work in and do some training. So you can spend a lot of time on the training side of it. And just get some calories in.
For the housewife or the Wall Street guy who's really not working out too much.
No.
I'm going to say maybe even 90% nutrition.
Yeah.
Just
all right.
It is. You know what? The longer you do this and you're in this field, you realize the people's biggest trouble is the nutrition side. You know, the exercise, there's a lot of different forms of exercise, and you can find one that's, whether it's CrossFit, whether it's doing Spartan races, whether it's, you know, just taking regular yoga classes, although I do think everybody needs to do some resistance training.
I concur.
I think that you can find enough time to do, squeeze it in, whether it's 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there. You can find something that you enjoy doing, that to you it's something that you're doing that's fun. Nutrition, on the other hand, nobody looks at nutrition as being something that this is fun to do. What's fun is watching a football game with a pitcher of beer and a large pepperoni pizza in front of you. That's
right, Christian. I see Christian taking a step.
That's it.
It's 3 o'clock today. Fun. That's what I'm going to start doing.
You guys hurry up a little bit here. Eating healthy and eating the right types of food, especially in the beginning, it's not what anybody wants to do.
What do you both think that the greatest reason behind that is? Why are people, they know you're going to die. I mean, we do a scan at the Fit Lab and we quantify at times you're going to die. And people are still resistant to any type of change. They think, I know it all. I just need to stop eating as much. I should have this, that, this. Sometimes they shouldn't be having that in the first place, especially even if we do their labs. It's like, nope, you should not be having lemon. You know, that just actually came up with the guy the other day. Big reaction to it. But what do you both think is the main
I think there's
cog?
A lot of different reasons, but I think I say mentality is the first one. But some people live their life saying, well, I'm going to die anyway, so I'm going to enjoy it.
John Candy, back when they said that. Yep. He was happy as anything.
I'm not going to deprive myself.
Right. But what people are missing out is that when you start eating the real foods and you start feeling that energy in your body, like when you're living, right,
much better.
I feel like when you live a certain way of eating the processed foods and stuff, you're like, well, I'm still alive, I'm still breathing, and I'm still walking, and everything else is fine. But until you eliminate all of that processed foods, do you really feel inside your body come alive? You know, so until you feel that, you don't really know. And I think it's just more of a mentality issue that you have to get through the sugar withdrawals, get through all of that, and then I think
people don't like change. Really resistant to any type of change, and I know that it's gotten away from it, but you know, you go from the 70s, 80s, and 90s for like the last 50, 60 years, we've been taught that carbs are our friends, nobody cares about protein, fat's the enemy. You know, so everybody is just, this is what I eat. There's nothing wrong with eating all these carbs because carbs aren't a problem. Right. You know, and now we have an obesity and a diabetes epidemic going on. You know, so that was wrong. But getting people out of that mindset and that switch it's happening, but it's slow. It's like moving a big ship, you know. It just takes forever. And getting people to change their mindset on that. And if you happen to come from a ethnicity that eats a lot of rice or a lot of pasta, stuff like that, this is what my family grows up on. I know, but is it the best thing for you? Just because that's what everybody does doesn't mean that that's that's healthy for you to do. So getting them to change their mindset on that a little bit, just get away from it for a little while. I mean, we all grew up then on, you know, eating sandwiches and bread. And I know my personal story was that, you know, I actually started getting away from that before I opened CrossFit. But, you know, sitting on a trading desk in Wall Street, I noticed that myself included, everybody get that afternoon, start to doze off, you know, fine, and stuff like that. Well, we all had pizza or big sandwiches, right? You know, beforehand. So I started looking up, like, what can I eat instead of these sandwiches? Because I read through starting CrossFit that, you know, grains might be a problem, you know? So I was just looking to not fall asleep after eating a sandwich on the trading desk, which isn't a good thing. Not if you got my money. Yeah, exactly. So I, you know, just tried it, and I started realizing that, wait a minute, I'm not falling asleep anymore because I don't get that sugar rush, but I'm also the heartburn that I always had. Like, I had, you know, Tums in my bedside, I had Tums in my desk, I had Tums in my car. You know, I was just eating Tums all the time because I had heartburn. Oh, you work on Wall Street, stress. It wasn't the stress, it was the grains I was eating. Right. You know, once I stopped eating them, I didn't have any heartburn anymore. I haven't had it in, you know, like, I don't know, what is it, 13, 14 years now. Because I got rid of them. So those little things, and getting people to change that, to actually realize that is, you know, it's difficult. It's hard. Nobody wants to change, you know, so.
Thy food be thy medicine be thy food, right?
Amen.
Exactly.
What, Chantea, do you think is the biggest roadblock?
Well, I know the accountability factor is huge with people that I work with, and changing that mindset. You know, it's easy for them to do it for a week, and then they're like, okay, well, this happened and that party happened, and I have to go out, right? So
what the crap with Christmas? Seriously,
I know. You know, everybody stops doing what they're doing from, you know, basically Halloween on, because there's always a party and there's everything else to do. So what I have found is that those that have more accountability are better, you know, to adhere to what it is, because they don't want to have to report back to me, okay, well, I fell off the wagon this week. I'm like, okay, well, then let's be better, you know. And it's, okay, well, what are you going to do? It's having them take the reins. You know, everybody can tell you what to do until you're blue in the face. Right. But until they make that realization and they're like, aha moment, and it comes from within, they're more likely to start adhering to the recommended changes. But it's something that has to come from the inside.
Yeah.
The one size fits all when it comes to nutrition?
No.
Why not? We're all human, right?
No. Everybody's different. You know, you have some people that work overnight time. You have some people that are, you know, at a desk all day. You have some people.
Keep going. Do your thing.
So it's not. Everyone is totally different, whether they have different activity levels and different, you know, patterns in their lifestyle. So you do need to tailor everything to them. Although I feel that the processed foods is something that is a one size fits all.
I think in like the nutrition realm, everybody, like I said before, you can take a little something from everything, and there's always going to be an argument on one side or the other, and there's probably a little bit of truth somewhere in the middle on a lot of it. The one thing I think everybody, whether it be, you know, doctors, nutritionists, fitness experts, whatever, will agree on is that processed foods are just bad. There's no getting around that. Everybody needs to eat real food. I think that's the one thing that everybody can or should at least agree on. If you just eat real food, you know, and again, you get into the definition of what is real food.
But, you can pull it from the ground, if you can pick it from a tree.
If it's going to die no matter, you know, days after you get it,
yes, if it could stay on your shelf for 2 years, it is not real.
It's not the nuclear Twinkie,
yes,
you know.
It's forever.
Technically, yes, it is forever. Survive nuclear fallout. I mean, technically, even shakes are processed.
Yeah.
When people say, I'm eating clean, but they're having 3 whey shakes a day, technically that is processed.
That's processed.
So it comes down to oftentimes
what degrees.
Yeah, what degree of clean? What degree? I don't want to say clean. What degree of?
That's the no-no.
Yeah.
What is clean eating, right? It's...
Liz's food. That's what's clean.
That's true, and that's actually an excellent point, which we get and we deal with a lot, because we always recommend that people after their workouts have maybe a small amount of carbs and some form of protein right after they work out, like in that 1 hour window, right? And your body's just craving it. It's a perfect time for your muscles to suck it in.
Absolutely.
And myself, I'm part of this. I don't want to eat food after a workout, especially after a CrossFit workout.
I feel a little nauseous.
Yeah, I'm not hungry. So, well, how can I get that? A protein shake. Right, so that's the one time a day that I do have a protein shake, is right after I work out. Now that shake, I've looked at all of them. We actually even looked into trying to make our own, because there's so much garbage out there.
If you know anyone, let me know.
Try to make our own
Try
protein.
to connect with somebody.
Yeah.
What are you two trying to use for your own?
Well, I believe I have an intolerance for whey, so I try to eliminate the whey. And I think what we're using now is an egg base.
Yeah, it's actually has some egg white protein in it, but it's mostly beef. There's beef in it too. So I tried it. I don't know if I have sensitivity to it, but I just figured I would try it also. I always used whey. We used to use Progenics. That was kind of the CrossFit thing du jour, which is relatively clean. It has, I think, 3 ingredients in it, which is huge for any protein stuff. But
it's the whey.
You still have to look at different.
So you could always just take a big piece of steak, throw it in a blender, and
drink
it on down.
If that was doable, palatable, I don't know. That's probably the hardest thing with most people too, is they'll, if it doesn't taste good, they're not going to do it. So if you can give them a shake, and if it doesn't taste good, but the reason it tastes good is because it has a lot of shit in it.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Much sugar.
Yeah.
What was that dulce de leche plasma protein that I used to like?
Yes, it was a beef plasma, but it was a dulce de leche. It was not delicious. It was not delicious. It was not. I was training last summer for my figure show and doing grass-fed whey protein, completely unflavored. I'd throw it in with unsweetened cocoa powder and peanut butter and flax milk, and all of those things came up on my food sensitivities. So
did they really?
Did, yeah.
Every last one.
Every one of those.
It was doing her more harm than good.
So it was, because, you get that feeling in your stomach. You're like, oh, maybe I just drank my shake too fast, but it was the bloating. It was the inflammation from all of those ingredients. So now I'm switched to a plant-based, protein, and it's strawberry. So I can do strawberries, but no chocolate or vanilla. And if I didn't have to do testing, I wouldn't have known that it was definitely causing more harm than good for me. So not all protein is created equal for every person.
For every person, no.
That's a big thing. It's super important. I don't like eating big meals after a workout, so I would rather have a shake and, mix, my creatine with it and get the body the nourishment that it needs.
Right.
So people just have to be a little more open-minded and just realize that it's for their own good. And taste is kind of secondary.
I think you kind of get used to it. The palate changes.
You do.
That's what I was going to say. You kind of get used to this. First taste can be terrible, but you
we went through a few. There was a few print ones that I said nope.
Some of them no.
The pea protein one that tastes like sand.
The pea protein one was not the best.
No. Well, of course, down that. I don't care. We're good. But it tastes like sand.
I don't really have a problem with drinking most things, but I've tried the pea protein.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it was very gritty.
Yes, it's very gritty.
Yeah, like you said, sand. It tasted like I was drinking sand.
Absolutely.
It and it makes sense to me because I don't like peas to begin with. So I don't know. I just blamed it on that.
Yeah.
So, Liz.
Yes.
How can individuals get your food?
Very simple.
Okay.
Real food. realgood.com. You go on there. It's very simple. All of my menu is there. I have breakfast foods, chickens, beef, porks, fish, desserts, soups, salads. Mm-hmm. Go on there. You click what you want. You could get individualized meals. You get to pick out your sides as well. And then I also have trays where you could buy per pound. So those that don't want to cook for their family and then have a separate meal for themselves. You kind of just say, okay, here we are. We have 2 pounds of chicken today for dinner. And you have your sides, and you could give that to the entire family. I mostly prep my meals Monday mornings, and then by Monday evenings, it would be delivered to whoever orders it.
Easy enough.
Locally. We're a local business.
So, the whole shop local people? Shop local.
Support the small businesses.
Yeah. It doesn't get much easier. I mean, I use it, and it's so convenient. It's a lifesaver. It's all clean food. It's delicious, and it's literally I just pick it up on Monday and take it home and eat it.
Set for the week.
Yeah, I'm set for the week. Yeah,
no more excuses. No
more
more. I don't have the
excuses.
time.
And the best part is I kind of am the one that's doing all the shopping and knowing all the ingredients. So my chicken is pasture raised. My beef is grass fed. My fish are wild caught. All of my fruits and vegetables are organic. So, I know every single ingredient that's going through every single recipe. I shop more for quality rather than prices. So, it's special, so you know that what you're getting and what you're eating is going to be good for you.
That is easy.
That's key.
And
Yes, you don't have to do anything.
And Ken, what is the website for CrossFit Persist?
www.crossfitpersist.com.
And if somebody wanted to come on over, how would they do so?
Absolutely. You can sign up online to get, one of us will get back to you about setting up your first free appointment. Appointment introduction is free. So we'll put you through a little testing in terms of your movement patterns, and then prescribe to you what we think is the best method to go, whether it be personal training or group classes. And then part of that is also an in-body scan to get your body composition and a nutritional guideline as to what your calorie and macro content should be. And then if you need more, that's where Liz will give you that.
Awesome.
Again, easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
love it. Very easy.
We like easy.
Yeah.
Right? We're all about efficiency.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Easy.
always. So if you've liked this podcast, do us a favor and like it. Tell your friends.
5-star review.
Give us a 5-star review on Amazon, iHeart, Spotify, whatever device that you're listening to this on. It truly does help us get out more and allows the rest of the world to hear it who may not have already heard it. I would like to thank you very much, Liz and Ken,
Thank you.
for being here on the
Thank you.
Functionize
Appreciate you guys
podcast.
having
Certainly
us.
appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
And to all our listening audience, thank you for being here with us as well. Beauty Brains Brawn,
I'm out.
Ken,
Yeah. Have a great day, folks.
thank you, Liz.
Enjoy your week.
Mad Scientist, I am out.